It is a pleasure to speak with you because Strange Advance, one of my all-time favorite bands, and I still have the 12-inch to We Run. I cannot listen to any other version other than that one. If I hear the 3.5 minute, it's too short. And if somebody else does something else with it, it's too monotonous. I think it's what, 7.5 minutes, I do believe. It is one of the perfectly made songs of the 80s, and it represents my fun. And to you, my friend, and to the band, thank you for helping to make the 80s so much fun for me.
Oh, you're very welcome, Rudy. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Actually, that mix was done in London, England. Um, I remember flying over there, and the record company, awesome support from the record company, good old Dean Cameron at Capitol Records, but they wouldn't spring for an extra day. So you fly in, and you're jet lagged to hell, and then you go into the studio and you start work on the song and everything's good. Of course, I'm dozy as hell because I'm so tired. But halfway through the process, this band comes into the room and says, hey, how's it going? Have you got everything you need? Everything going all right? It's like, yep, yep, sounds good. Thank you very much. Nice studio. And he leaves, and the engineer turns to me and says, "Do you know who that was?" It's like, he's the owner. That was Manfred Mann. And, I mean, that was like, I'm a little older than a lot of our fans. So Manfred Mann was like a big act in the 60s and 70s and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very cool.
No, man. Strange Advance is cool. 80s was cool. The fact that
Yeah.
you guys are still performing. In fact, one of the reasons why we're talking, big show coming up in Toronto.
Yeah, we're doing the Phoenix Friday the 13th, June 13th, and then on the 14th we go to the London Music Hall in London. So yeah, it'll be a fun weekend.
What do you think it was, man, about I know for me growing up um during the 60s, 70s, 80s and so forth, but 80s for me was my main fun. I mean, later on
Yeah.
I got myself an 86 Camaro T-Bar. I had the Jerry curl hair, I had the parachute pants. I can go on, the double belts, the one glove. That should describe you and what my life was like back then. What was it about that time that to me was the most fun and most important too? Not only did we dance, but it didn't matter what your religion, your background was, or whatever, we all danced together.
Yeah. Yeah. It was an amazing time period, and I think a couple of things happened in the 80s. One, first of all, MTV, Much Music, that was a big game changer. And two, technology had advanced to the point where people could make records in their bedrooms, and they were. And I mean, I remember reading about Eurythmics, who bought an 8 track and recorded in an old church in London. That's where they recorded Sweet Dreams. And coincidentally, they always had the best string arrangements,
Yeah.
and I always loved their, "Here Comes the Rain Again," and all the great string runs and stuff. And I found out that it was Michael Kamen who was doing all their arrangements and stuff. So we ended up hiring him to produce our second album, which was pretty damn cool. So yeah, anyway, it's I would say technology, because all of a sudden you were getting music from people that did not have the ability to they didn't have big record deals. They didn't have thousands of dollars a day to spend in big studios like the one behind you there. So they had to but they were creative. They had lots of great ideas, and we got to benefit from all that.
Strange Advance, you guys are from Vancouver when we first met you, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Did people believe you were Canadian and from Vancouver?
No, no. Everybody thought we were from the UK,
Yeah.
you know. And as a matter of fact, it kind of hurt us in the UK, um, because we sounded like, oh, we belonged, but we didn't belong. We weren't from there. So some people took exception to it. It's like, They, especially because in the UK, they've got weird musical tastes. There's like a huge American country music, population all sorts of things. I remember growing up, I'm from Scotland originally, and all my cousins, of course, are still back there. And when we were listening to, sort of more progressive music in that, they were listening to, like first of all, huge Motown R&B,
Yeah.
scene in the UK, just ate it up. Now, of course, Northern Soul and stuff. It's fun to see these different genres, happen and stuff. But anyway, bottom line, it was a great time. The '80s were awesome, and when you look at the charts and you see like any particular chart had so many iconic songs on it. It was astonishing. And it kind of makes me feel bad for kids listening to music today. They don't nearly have, I mean, everything's available on Spotify, but for us, I guess because we didn't have the socials, we didn't have the internet. It wasn't such a big deal in the '80s. Um, and it meant that we all were focused on Much Music, MTV, and the radio station. So we were all listening to the same thing at the same time. And I think that definitely added to its popularity. Now the music scene is so split.
Yeah.
You could get any genre. I can't remember the website address, but there's a guy that's compiled every type of music on the planet. It's just unbelievable, and samples of every type of music ever. And that's like things I've never ever heard of. And so those people doing, a little splinter off genre are going to have much less chance of, you know, gaining sort of world success than we did because there's just way too many people out there competing for the same slice of pie. Anyway, I'm blethering away here.
No, but the other thing was too that back then top 40 was true top 40, where you
Oh
could
yeah,
hear a song from Strange Advance, and then you could hear Metallica being played right after,
yeah.
or they were different bands. So top 40 was top 40. But what I always found interesting about you guys was that somehow you guys had this one tone, but then you had this really high tone and you never mixed it together. You worked it together. Do you understand what I mean? How did you guys do that? Most bands
Well,
will try to, do the harmonizations, but you guys literally left them separately, but it worked.
well, I think it comes from ignorance. Basically, like when if you grow up in the music, I was a drummer who bought a Mellotron, and I actually had to go to London, England to buy it when I was like, 18 years old, 17 years old or something. I borrowed a couple grand from my dad and I flew off to England to buy this instrument because I loved it so much and any band that used it, that was okay with me. So I was not an educated musician. I picked up enough keyboards and enough guitar to write songs and stuff, but that's about it. I'm essentially, an old drummer. But but the point is that I was ignorant. It's like I didn't know how to put tracks together or how to build things, and so what you hear is what you get, essentially.
It was amazing to hear it. But what was it like for you guys, especially when you're nominated for Junos, to be in a room where you have artists like Brian Adams, Corey Hart, Spoons. Like I can just keep
And
going.
I'm just laughing to myself because I remember going to the Junos, and I think perhaps I might be the only person in Canada with this thought in mind. Daryl and I are sitting in the audience, and it's my first Juno experience. It's very exciting. Oh, look, there's Bruce Coburn over there, and
Yeah.
oh, look, there's Platinum Blonde, and this is awesome. And so anyway, we were up. Well, first, we were nominated for most promising group. Didn't win that. That's good because that's the kiss of death. So
Yes.
then we get nominated for best group, and I just think, well, forget it. There's no chance that we're winning best group. We're up against lots of really great groups. So I wasn't concerned in the least, about winning the award, and as such, prepared nothing. And and then we're sitting there, and I look over and go, "Oh, what's that cameraman doing? Why do I have a camera pointed at myself?" And I thought, "Oh no, something terrible has happened. Some of the two top groups have split the vote, and we've slid through the middle. Oh my God, they're going to announce that we've won, and I don't have a bloody thing to say." And I'm sitting there in the seat, I swear to God, going, "Please don't let us win. Please don't let us win." Because I thought I'm going to have a stroke if I have to go on stage. And, because I mean, everyone says, "Oh, I didn't prepare anything. I wasn't planning." It's like, no, I seriously didn't have a thought in my head, and I thought, no, because I am not a great public speaker. So, anyway, that was my Juno experience.
Well, I gotta tell you, man, one of the things I remember, I was just getting into radio broadcasting. The Junos were happening at I think it was still called the O'Keefe Center,
Oh yeah.
in Toronto. And I remember somehow I got a chance to sneak backstage because they were
Mm.
still setting up and I saw the neon lights and everything. And I said to myself, one of these days, I'm going to be at the Junos. I have covered the Junos now for the last, what, 30 plus years. And
Oh
it has
wow.
been an honor to be in that moment. But the other honor for me, too, is not just because I'm talking to you guys, it's because do you realize that your music was really an architect and a photo of what that time was like?
I never really thought of it in those terms.
Well, because of what you guys helped create, especially when we go back to We Run, because of what the song is about, and the music video is iconic at the same time, too.
Yeah, it was fun doing the video. I'll tell you that there's when you're dealing with record labels, you're looking for record label support. You want them to pay for the making of your album. You want them to pay for the making of your videos. You want them to give you tour support and all that stuff. And in return, they want your firstborn. And but anyway, the when we went to do the video for We Run, the video director came up with an awesome plan for the video. But what you see in the video is only like a third of what he was talking about doing. Because at the end of the day, the record company just said, "No, we're not giving you that much money. We'll give you half of that." But so we show up on the day. It's like, what happened to that set? What happened to the other thing? It's like, sorry, I couldn't afford it. So we did the best with what we could, but I think it ended up pretty good.
And for people who don't know what the song's about, really, because I only found out after I talked to you guys about it.
Well, it's a weird thing talking about meanings behind songs because people draw their own conclusions. They think, "Oh, I think what he's saying is this." Like I can remember having people coming up to me to say, "Oh man, you wrote that song for me. That song's all about, my divorce." It made so much sense. Like, sure, okay. I don't want to disillusion anybody. The We Run actually came from a dream that I had, and and I just extrapolated on what I saw in the dream, and apparently I have weird dreams. I can tell you. So yeah. Anyway, that I don't want to get into it any more than that, but it's a fun. As a matter of fact, I was talking to somebody the other day about song lyrics, and we were talking about life in a northern town, a dream academy. Well, songs appeal to you for different reasons. And that song, apart from being a very lush, lovely song, has a line in the tag of it where the singer says, "Take it easy on yourself." And when I heard it the very first time, I thought, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I needed to hear that. So for that reason, that song just sort of glued itself in my brain. I'm going, oh, that's the song that makes me feel good, you know. And but someone else might like the or not like the song for totally different reasons, you know. So I don't like to mess with people's perceptions of our material.
We'll leave it to that then. Do you think it's time to finally have a mega 80s show? You guys, Glass Tiger, Lover Boy, Honeymoon
Yeah, damn it.
Suite, you know,
Oh my
like
God, can you imagine? Now, this sounds like that's a very good idea, Rudy, and you've got it. I would say you should run with that idea. You know lots of people in the business. Get on it. Make this happen.
I would love it like down at Downsview Park or something like that. I think, especially now, because are we coming up to what? Is it 45 or 50th anniversary basically of the 80s?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's about time that we really start celebrating it because let's face it, when it comes to dancing in clubs, again, no disrespect to the artists of today, they're usually playing what was done in the 80s to get
Yeah.
people to dance today.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. I mean, when you consider the amount of attention that ABBA and ABBA songs still get, you know, it's amazing. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I think that's an awesome idea. And I would go to that show, even if I wasn't in it. That would be so cool. I love the idea.
I hope we can make this happen. In the meantime, we have the Phoenix concert
Yeah.
theater.
And
Also, you guys
don't forget London.
in
Come to
London,
London.
and also you guys had released music in 2022, correct?
Yeah. Strange Advance 4.
Any chance that we're going to have a Strange Advance 5 in the future?
Well, nothing's impossible, and there's certainly enough material. I'm writing all the time, so yeah, I'm hoping after we're taking most of the summer off, so I'll have some time to work on some tunes. So next time we talk, I'll let you know.
I am looking forward to that. Before we go, is there anything that you want to say to fans like myself who have followed you guys, who have danced to your music, played it out of our cars till the speakers broke, dressed the way you guys dress, cut our hair the way that you guys had cut your hair, and just really enjoyed the Strange Advance experience? What do you want to say to those fans?
Well, right now, my mission in life is to find those fans, which is why I'm doing your broadcast, because I'm hoping that, you know, someone listening to your podcast is going, man, I remember Strange Advance. That was so cool. And come to a show, God damn it. Um, yeah, because like it's hard after all these years, especially when, you know, we go out with the full complement. We go out with a six person band and a 4 person crew and a couple of 1,000 pounds of gear and stuff where a lot of acts don't do that. They don't put on the big show. We want to put on the big show. We want people to come to the show and be impressed as hell and be talking about it for months after. So come to the show, please. That's all I would ask.
Well, if I remember correctly, the last time you guys played, and I do believe it was the concert theater, it sold out like that.
Yeah.
So, um, I won't be surprised if the same thing doesn't happen.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, one more question. Most important, are you guys selling merch?
oh yeah, and we've
Thank
got
God.
I hired this artist in Toronto for new merch and stuff. Oh, great designs. Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay,
I'm really looking forward to seeing them. That's going to be fun.
fantastic. Because I've been trying to get old school shirts for the longest time, man. I'm trying to go back and get them, so I'm looking forward to that. Thank you so much for the interview. But more
Thanks,
importantly,
Rudy.
man, just thank you so much for the great music and making my time back in the day so much fun. You guys helped with that. Thank you again.
Thank you, Rudy.